Welcome to To Be Target. Welcome to Be Target practice. I'm joined here with
Paul, Michael, Jordan.
hit a target to reveal a section of a car logo. Guess the logo to win a round. Let's get started.
Miss.
Very close, very close.
Go straight out the middle, then I'll hit something.
Miss. Missed again.
Oh, yo! Jeepers!
Miss.
Down the middle is probably not the best.
Yeah.
You hit these before, haven't you? Nice, oh my god. Nice, oh.
Smashed.
Right, we might have an issue here.
No, you
Okay,
The top middle one.
top middle. Hit it off with you.
Oh my word. You got a guess or not?
Do you get to guess now? No.
Yeah, you
get
get to have a
guess.
guess, yep.
Only him, because he
Yeah,
hit
I
it.
know.
Any ideas?
I have no idea. Ford, I have no idea.
Unfortunately not Forbes, no. Almost. Get somewhere. Oh, get somewhere. Oh,
Which one, Coxie?
which one?
Bottom left.
Helpful.
There you go.
Fiat.
Correct.
Thank
Well
you.
done. First round done.
Easy game.
Easy game.
Yeah, next time, bro. Unlucky.
Right, ready to go, yeah?
Yeah.
Blinding shot.
Middle top.
That's easy. This is easy.
What is that?
You don't know? How can you not get this?
MD. What's MD? What's that?
Close. Come on, what's your guess? Ain't got all day.
Don't have a clue what that is. What is that?
Can't help you, unfortunately.
I don't know. MD, whatever that is.
Incorrect.
Close.
Yeah.
Is it?
Unlucky.
I don't know what the car is, so you. If I smash all the things, then you won't be able to hit them.
Oh, blinding shot again.
Top left. A Mazda. Unlucky top
Lucky.
So if I smash that one now, you.
I know, then you're stuck.
Double
Oh
blind,
yeah,
though.
top right,
Top right.
and that is a
You got guessed it.
an MC.
Oh, you're close. Yeah, that hit.
The wind's blowing that one there.
Oh, you did hit it. Which
Bottom
one?
middle.
Bottom middle.
Bottom middle. Say what you see. Say what you see. What do you see?
But that's what I said the first time.
What have you said? MD.
What
does it look
MG
like?
already. I don't know, MD, whatever that is.
No, you didn't say
I
that.
said the first one, MG.
No, you said MD.
You said MC the whole time.
MG.
Smashed
After a very explosive and decisive victory, Jordan Cox wins with 2 games in a row. So well done to Jordan.
what's set up to be a thrilling last day, relatively low scoring game, I guess, up to that point, but they're all being kept waiting for the weather to improve in the West Country. Here's Cook, lovely weather here, bowls to the Nottinghamshire captain, the 10-capped Asiba Mead, who leaves his crease and blocks this one just onto the onside. 14th first class 100 yesterday for Asiba Mead, his first against Essex. Not had a particularly good record against them in the past, but I'm sure he'll have been very pleased to have brought up 3 figures yesterday and still been there at the close. Cook bowls to him and again he pushes it into the offside. He was busy yesterday, he was looking for runs, he got forward at every opportunity, tried to keep the board ticking over, went along at a fairly decent lick, but I suspect in the first 15 minutes or so that we've had this morning it's been very much caution first and we'll worry about the runs a little later. Sam Cook, past umpire Hartley, bowls and he's hit him on the pad and Baskin's given him, oh he's gone! Sam Cook's got a big one there and Mead went to turn it to leg and he's been given out just again moving forward trying to turn this one away on the leg side. It hit him fairly full and there was an appeal, there was a long look at it from umpire Hartley and it's very very adjacent to the leg stump, but you'd need ball tracking to be 100% certain, but umpire Hartley was 100% certain that it was clattering into leg and the Notts captain has to go, and that's a huge moment in the morning for both these sides. Yes. 185 for 3, Hamid out for 105.
Yeah, certainly is, and that will really, really lift Essex enormously, because Hamid was looking very, very solid, well, as you would expect if he scored over 100, and it gets a good hand from, well, a pretty sparse Essex crowd today, well, particularly in front of the pavilion. Yeah, I suppose I'm a little bit biased, but Essex crowd are pretty generous to opposition players. A lot of Essex supporters or members, like myself, like me, are cricket lovers almost as much as they are Essex supporters. So they can appreciate an excellent innings, and which it certainly was. But of course, Hamid himself, as all professional cricketers, as all professional sportsmen and women, they're never ever satisfied, and rather than being, very pleased that he's got 105, he'll rue the fact that he was out and regret that he couldn't go on. So that brings Jack Haynes to the crease, who fell to Harmer for LBW for 5 in the first innings. So 185 that wicket added, and that was the end of the over. And Harmer will be bowling to Clark. Moves in now. Clark plays solidly. Trickles down the wicket to Paul Walter. We will, of course, I'll mention the email address at the end of the over. Harmer doesn't hang about when he's bowling. Moves in again. Bowls. Again it trickles out. And again it's Paul Walter who this time has to cross the playing surface, but that's easy enough with legs the length of his. And Harmer moves in. That's down the leg side. I don't think anybody got anything on that. I'm pretty sure that's buys, and 4 of them, yes, signalled by umpire Rod White, to scorers Paul Parkinson and Anne Cusworth. No relation. There was may still be a bowler at Durham called Cusworth. No relation, is she? To the best of your knowledge?
Yeah, you will.
Dave?
Thinking of Rushworth, are you?
Oh, Rushworth.
Well, he's gone to Warwickshire now.
That's,
Can't think of a Cusworth at Durham.
Yeah, Cusworth is a car, isn't it? Yeah. Or there's that Cosworth. But yeah, I think we'll go off that subject. That's played out into the covers. And yeah, well.
Nice shot through the covers from this next ball from Joe Clark, away for 4.
Yep.
So back-to-back boundaries for Notts, one courtesy of sharply turning ball that everybody missed, 4 byes, and the next one predictably Harmer just gave it too much offside air and Clark met it nicely.
Harmer in, paddled around the corner but straight to the fielder. No addition to the score of 193 for 3.
Because I think he would have been on the radar up till then.
Clark faces up to Harmer. And, a bit of a, well, a shot not really in the textbook. It was a bit of a swish outside the off stump, really. Finished up going down to fine leg, and they picked up a single. But no, probably not the order of the day, but he got away with it. Cricket, as in life, so much luck plays a big part. Right, the BBC email address, and I say BBC Essex email address, Essex, BBC, start again, BBC Essex Cricket @gmail.com, BBC Essex Gmail, all one string of letters, no dots, @gmail.com, and whether you're an Essex supporter or a Notts supporter, just a cricket supporter, doesn't even have to be professional cricket, club cricket, anything. Would warmly welcome your contributions.
Handsome shot in that over for 4 by Joe Clark, and then quite a scruffy scraped single to the final ball that he could very nearly have chopped on. He's got down to the business end.
Yeah.
To face Cook, whose last delivery brought him a wicket. This one won't. It's driven to Snater in the offside. Joe Clark, 27 years of age now, born in Shrewsbury, played minor counties cricket as it was then for Shropshire before really making his way with Worcestershire. Joined Notts in the winter of 2018-2019, made his debut in April 2019 for Notts. This is his 71st game, 11 centuries so far for Notts. He's edged and he's caught! Brilliant catch by Harmer. Cook's got 2 within the space of 3 balls, and both overnight players have gone, and Joe Clark's out for 67. Flashing hard at Cook, it went quickly, and Harmer diving away to his left, hung on. Wonderful catch. And Nottinghamshire are in huge strife now, 194 for 4. Wonderful catch from Simon Harmer.
And it seems to happen so often, it can't be coincidence, that after a long stand, both the batsmen can go within, within just a couple of overs of each other. This is what's happened here, and as Dave said, it's a huge blow for the visitors and another huge lift for Essex. So Clark is out for 67, and Notts are 194 for 4.
Was caught by Simon Harmer off the bowling of Sandford. 67.
And I've said it yesterday, I'll probably say it again. I've said it many times before, but Harmer has established a reputation as a superb slow bowler, off-break bowler, but he's also a more than useful slip fielder. So, next on the card is Kyle Verena.
New batter for Nottinghamshire, Kyle Verena.
And it is indeed, as you can hear on the public address system probably.
Yeah, South African Test wicket-keeper of the last couple of years, really. Is one of his heroes was Quentin de Kock during the formative years of his career, and he's ended up emulating and taking de Kock's berth with de Kock stepping away from the international game, just plays the franchise stuff. It's on strike now and pushes this up to mid-on, and there's no run. Made an unbeaten 50 against Surrey last week at Trent Bridge on his debut. Hit 3 4s yesterday morning and then fell for for 12. It was a bit of a loose shot straight into the hands of the covers. Tees had a good look at Asiba Meads and says, yeah, that one was fair enough, David. It actually got right across. Saw it 2 or 3 times during that last over there. He got right across his stumps as this one passed the outside of the off stump and goes through to Michael Pepper. Verena leaves it alone. Yeah, Mead obviously thought it was sliding down the leg stump. I think we're a long way away, but you can imagine him blinking in disbelief as the umpire's finger went up. Peter Hartley had a good old look at it, but yes, I think it might have been a waste of a review if such things were possible. I think there would have been enough contact into leg stump. Here's Cook then, very quickly he's gone from a non-for to a 2-for, 2 for 22. He bowls to Verena down the leg side this time, and Michael Pepper with a great bit of work took it down the leg side. He needed to be a fraction quicker because Verena was out of his stumps, and Pepper had the presence of mind after a moment just to shy at the stumps and knock out the middle pole, but that moment's hesitation allowed Verena to get back and avoid a nasty old run out there. 194 for 4. Although would it have gone down as a stumping? That's one of the great arguments, isn't it, when a keeper does that?
Yes. Yeah, good one that. Which does make a difference, of course. Well, not to the score, but to the bowler's analysis.
Yeah. 194 for 4. Verena on naught, Haynes on naught. That's absolutely how Essex would want it. 2 fresh players at the crease. Another successful over for Sam Cook, wicket maiden. 12 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 22 out this morning. Asiba Mead LBW to Cook for 105. Joe Clark wonderfully caught in the slips by Simon Harmer, also off Sam Cook for 67. That's 194 for 4.
Yeah, so Essex realistically couldn't have wished for a better opening 20 minutes or so, having got rid of both the overnight incumbents, and now obviously they'll really want to tighten the screw, but equally resolutely the Notts middle and lower order will want to defend for, if not for all their lives, defend for, to put First Division security more likely.
Well, it's Jack Haynes to be on strike. Mentioned yesterday, I keep mentioning it, his highest score of the season was scored on the opening day of the season against Essex at Trent Bridge. Well, his first innings of the season, I think it was on the second day when he scored 77.
Harmer moves in and bowls. That's just turned round the corner but straight to a fielder. So both batsmen have yet to open their account. And that certainly gets the better of Haynes outside the off stump and zipped through. Let's just play defensively. We're being told by at least 2 of our, well, I was going to say listeners, that there's no sound on the, let's just play defensively on the YouTube, or sorry, on the stream, but maybe it depends by which means you access it. As that's just played solidly, trickles back to Harmer. So I'm afraid we in the commentary box can't really help you with that. Everything's as it should be from our end, and we've tested we've asked the technical boys, that's just play defence at the end, the technical boys and girls in the sort of control room, whatever they call it, and they were quite happy with it. 10 minutes or so, a bit more than that before the start of play. So yeah, it may be a maybe a feature of that particular application. End of the over, and Notts 194 for 4.
Just a reminder also for the general listenership, the general fan base out there, of course, all the matches are now available on your smart speaker. Just ask your smart speaker to play, in this particular case, just say play BBC Sounds Essex versus Notts Day 4, or whichever match you want to listen to. As Cook comes into Kyle Verreynne, this goes through to the keeper. Verreynne's heading back to South Africa. I'm not entirely sure the reason why, but he's got to nip back. Notts knew this when they signed him, that he'd be available for 3 of the final 4 games, so we'll miss next week against Canterbury and against Kent at Canterbury, and then be back for the last game in a couple of weeks at Trent Bridge against Warwickshire. So there is a spot to be filled in the side from somewhere as this one goes through to the keeper. Whether they'll give the gloves to Joe Clark, as they've done 7 or 8 times this season now, bring Tom Moores back into the side, or see Dane Schardendorf got 100 this week for the seconds. So that's one decision that will have to be ratified over the next few days. Starts Tuesday at Canterbury, by the way. This one started Monday this week, and it starts Tuesday next week. Next ball is pushed out into the offside. There's no run. Warwickshire host Essex down the Dickey next week, and then Essex here finish up against Surrey. Might be here for the crowning of the champions, so they might have won it by then.
Yes, I think they probably will have done. Well, I don't know who Surrey are playing next week, but and I won't begrudge them another title. To my mind, they're easily the best equipped side of the 18.
Been kept off the field still at Taunton this morning. This is short, and Verreynne's taken on the hook. It was a top edge, really. Didn't get the best of contacts, but he's got 4 runs. It skewed away very fine and high, no chance for Pepper. But, well on its way down to long leg for 4 runs. So Verreynne's up and running. Notts 198 for 4. They've got an awful lot of batting to do today if they're to take any draw points. Otherwise, just the 2 bonus bowling points they got, they didn't get the full complement of bowling points, and they certainly missed out on any batting points, being scuttled out for 93 yesterday morning. Cooking again to Verreynne, an edge for 4, and again it's gone between slips between Elgar and Harmer. It was along the ground, yes. Wouldn't have been caught, should have been stopped. Second boundary of the over to Verreynne, and that is the Nottinghamshire 200 up. 202 for 4, and remember they began this second innings 364 in arrears. It's knocking on the door of 11 o'clock, Dickie. I'll be back shortly.
Oh yes, I've got one in a couple of minutes as well. So thanks Russell for your email. Russell, who describes himself as a disgruntled Notts supporter. Great catch to dismiss Clark. Actually, I'll wait till Dave comes back before I read this, because obviously he can comment in his far better position to comment than I. That's just played back to Cook to conclude the over. So, yep, I always say if you've taken the trouble to put fingers to keyboard, then the very least we can do is read out your emails and address the subject which you raise. So yeah, it wouldn't do it justice for me to pass comment, but as soon as Dave's back, I will read it out again in its entirety, and he can comment. If I forget, then please let me know, Russell, and say something like, "What's happened to my email then?" But no, I will remember, he said optimistically to himself. So Harmer to continue. Moves in now and bowls, and that's met with stern defence. No addition to the score of 202 for 4. I am expecting to do an update soon, but there's nothing coming through my headphones to suggest so. Loud appeal. Well, it was a loud appeal, but as I said yesterday about one or two other appeals, yeah, some of them give the air of conviction and others give the air an air merely of optimism. That came into the latter category. As Harmer moves in and bowls.
I feel like
that's just
living in the area also gives
defensively.
insight to how people react to these kind of events coming into
No
their
addition to the
space.
score. I will be doing an update
There
shortly.
was a lot of negativity.
A mum says she's been sacked as a governor of her son's school in Stanford Hope after complaining online about it.
Harmer moves in, the batsman comes down a pace or a pace and a half to get to the pitch of it and plays it confidently, competently and capably.
Emailed Hassenbrook Academy to say he'd have to wear trainers, but he was threatened with isolation.
Harmer moves in again.
He didn't wear a pair of shoes from the
Bowls.
opposite.
The way that
And
the school is being governed is more than
that's turned round the corner, or did it hit the pad? I think it hit the pad. But it's still finished up round the corner, but no addition to the score.
And it's got to stop. It cannot go
Rayner
on.
has 8 courtesy of those 2 consecutive boundaries in the preceding over. Haynes still has to
after Feroz Cushy used an oversized bat earlier this
open
season.
his account.
It happened in a match in April.
End of the over.
Already happened to Phil listeners. Phil Walker, editor-in-chief at Wisden Cricket Monthly, has been reacting.
202 for 4.
It's one of these stories that sometimes people who don't necessarily follow the game will be going, what the hell's happening here? But yeah, this is in keeping really with Essex having, as I say, been struggling to keep their head above water for the last few months.
So turn to this morning's game, and Essex needs 6
Just about to do the update now.
Nottinghamshire on day 4 of their county championship match at Chelmsford. Dick Davis is watching close at the ground.
Essex could hardly have had a better the first half hour of the day, really, because they've dismissed both the overnight incumbents. Hasib Hamid went on from his overnight 100 exactly to 105 before Cook trapped him LBW with the score 185. Then it just moved on 9 more runs when Harmer took a superb catch in the slips, diving away to his right, also off the bowling of Cook. And Clark was on his way for 67. So Nottinghamshire very much in their rebuilding phase now, and they've moved on to 202 for 4 with Haynes to open his account and Verena for 8 not out. So a good first half hour for Essex. The visitors 202 for 4.
Commentary continues on the BBC Sport website and app.
And bowling change because Jamie Porter is now on, having replaced Sam Cook at the far end. Porter, who got 5 wickets in the Nottinghamshire first innings yesterday morning, now been given a chance just to back up what Sam Cook's already done today. Bowling to Jack Haynes, who's still to get off the mark, faced a dozen deliveries. Porter bowls, Haynes happy to defend.
Dave, I had an email from Russell, who describes himself as a disgruntled not supporter. I expect he's sadly not alone in that.
No.
He says, great catch to dismiss Clark. But, he says, all too often this season, Notts have capitulated. Why on earth did Notts win the toss and then put Essex in? No confidence in their batting ability? Poor season all round. Any views?
There's Porter from the gooch end and bowls and turned on the leg side. There's no run. Russell's absolutely right in the times that Notts again and again and again fail in the first innings, don't get the points, enough batting points in the first innings, don't get enough runs in the first innings to keep themselves in the game. But literally in terms of this game, Hasib Hamid had no choice really, in the fact that I was out there for the toss, which should have taken place at 10 o'clock on what day did we start? On Monday morning, as this is eased into the offside, and it was grey, it was miserable, the floodlights were on, there was drizzle in the air, it was absolutely filthy, and the umpires, I did hear them get the captains together and say, look, we can wait until it is 100% fit for play. We think there's going to be a lot of stoppages today. I'll leave it to you two gentlemen. We can toss now, and then at least you know what you're going to do when we can play, but bear in mind, it might be one of those days where we're on and off and on and off, and that's pretty much what happened. As this is defended, and both Asiba Mead and Tom Westley both said we'd rather get the toss out of the way now, so at least we know what we're doing. And Asiba Mead won the toss and literally had no choice at that stage. It was as black as night, and the forecast was that although there was going to be a little bit of improvement in patchy periods through the course of the day, more rain, more dark weather was going to be around the corner, and that's what happened. We were on and off all day on that first day, if you remember, Russell, as this has eased into the offside and there's no run. And Essex found it very difficult early on. They were 80 for 4 knots with the early momentum, and then the Kookaburra ball didn't really do anything. And you know, you can say what you like about the Notts bowlers, whether they managed to get enough out of the ball as Essex have. But with regards to the decision at the toss, once the decision had been made by both captains and the umpires, let's get the toss out of the way, so when we can start, we will start. I think he had no choice but to put Essex in, and certainly at 80 for 4. Notts were on top then, but it was a splendid innings from Westley. Rode his luck a little bit, if you remember. There were one or two that landed in gaps, one or two edges that didn't go to hand, etc., etc. Everybody needs that little bit of good fortune. Paul Walter and Michael Pepper also had a little bit of luck, but you know, it did go Essex's way. But I can't blame the skipper for his decision at the toss.
Harmer, unsurprisingly, continuing from the Cook end, moves in now and bowls, and that's swept round the corner. But I was going to say straight to the fielder, where it was, but it didn't field it cleanly, did Jamie Porter. It didn't go right through him for 4, but he parried it, so it was only a single. And
just on that, if they'd both said, Tom Westley and Asiba Mead, now let's wait until it's fit to play. There were times, obviously, on Monday where we did get periods.
As Harmer decided to go round the wicket. That's just played back to him. What would have happened if
each and every time, at each and every time when they did play, you knew it wasn't going to be for all that long, and the lights were on and it was gloomy and miserable, so you'd have made the same decision.
And that's edged down towards third man for a single. Well, there you are, Russell. The bigger crime is not what Essex did or how Notts bowled to a certain extent, although they did bowl more no balls than they would like or they would expect, or I would expect them to bowl, and they bowled too leg-sided to my mind. That's nudged square on the offside. They go through for a comfortable single.
But where they've been found wanting in this game clearly was yesterday morning, to lose those 9 wickets for whatever it was, 40 odd runs, 9 for 56 was it in the session, but having got to 40 for 1 and then bundled out for 93. I mean, there's a number of players there that would like to have that opportunity back again.
Hartman in again. Played to Porter. To shortish backward square leg. Well, there you are, Russell. That your email came through just as Dave went off to do his update. I told you he'd give you a far more comprehensive and capable reply than I could, and
the main point is Notts just haven't been good enough this year.
No, and that's played for a single, but Harmer put out an old-fashioned size 10 boot to stop it. Perhaps he realised it was going past him anyway. Thank you for all the people. I will give you all a mention, because I say if you take the trouble to email, then the least we can do is acknowledge it. All the people who are saying yes, the sound was off initially. Not sure if that's on all versions of the live stream or only via a well-known website or app, but apparently it's okay now. So thanks, Diana in Calgary. She says relax. Well, that's something I find I do very, very easily. Relaxing comes very easily to me.
Calgary, Canada.
Yes, Calgary, Canada.
That's got to be early in the morning, isn't it?
We always go through this.
Oh, right.
Yes, it is, isn't it? It's probably about 5:10, something like that. Yes.
Unless Diana's working a night shift, she's a very dedicated follower, and glad to have you along, Diana, as Porter bowls to Jack Haynes, who works this to mid on, just a 52-year-old, has been in touch as well. Good morning, he's a regular, not the start we were hoping for. Doesn't bode well, because that new ball's just around the corner as well. Well, this is the 68th over, so it's probably 40-45 minutes or so away if Harmer bowls 6 of the overs from this end to get us there. That might be a reason that Cook's come out of the attack and Porter's on, I don't know.
Malcolm says the sound's okay. Virtually, however you're trying to get the live stream. Good, thank you.
Porter bowls, Jack Haynes blocks once more. 6 scores between 55 and 75 and 77. 55 and 77 for Jack Haynes this year. A consistency of sorts. Just hope when he does finally knock down that big score that he will hopefully get between now and the end of the season, that there's no stopping him from then on. Porter to Haynes, and he doesn't appear to be in any sort of hurry here. Sid says just pull the screens round knots and call the vet. Yes. Bit of dark humour from Sid.
An email from Jerry. Good morning, Jerry in Blackpool. He says, you're coming across clear in Blackpool on my desktop. I thought he was going to say on top of the tower at Blackpool, but on his desktop. Excellent. Thank you, Jerry. I'll continue after this delivery.
Porter bowling to the right-handed Haynes. Again, a block into the covers fielded by Snater.
He says, hope you're well and looking forward to this forthcoming Essex victory. Well, I've never counted chickens. If you've been listening to me over the years, you know I'm very guarded in my comments. I don't get ahead of it too much, watch too much cricket, and victory needed after the points deduction. In all honesty, I don't think the points deduction is going to make any difference. 12 points, because Essex aren't going to be champions. They're not going down.
Porter bowls, and wide of the off stump and through to the keeper. Now, has this been ratified?
Yes, before we can discuss it, yes, it has been ratified.
Okay.
Yes.
There we are. Lancashire lost a wicket at Chesterley Street, by the way. They're 195 for 6. The only little bit of light in the outcome of this round of matches, if not to lose here, will be it. In fact, Lancashire lost 2 in 2, so they're 195 for 7. Will be if Lancashire lose that one, and they'll still stay probably 11 points behind Notts. As Haynes with soft hands runs this to the right of Simon Harmer down to third man. They'll get a couple of runs. 209 for 4. And at times he finished with 10 overs, 2 maidens, 5 for 35. Certainly a major contribution to those figures was what was happening at the other end, at the business end. But yesterday was his day thus far. He's wicketless on the final day. They've just started at Taunton and Somerset at 206 for 9.
As Harmer, with the sun shining brightly on a crisp autumn day, moves in, about to move in, does now, bowls, and pushed out by Verena to Tom Wesley. Thanks Sasha Ben David, thanks David P, I'll say. I don't like to give out surnames because you never know. There's some funny people listening sometimes, with all due respect. And that's just played out on the onside. And David says it's the sound was fine after a while. My general impression seems to be, from reading these emails, that it was a bit suspect or so for the first 10 minutes, a quarter of an hour, but it's okay now. That's played out on the onside. And Graham also says the same thing, more or less. It's just loud appeal. That was a bit of in-off, and they're standing around now. Well, it went through. Look at the replay. It went through to Pepper, presumably off the edge, Pepper juggled with it.
No, it's just pad.
Well,
Harmer's
it's Harmer is appealing for
everybody.
Beg your pardon. We're not behind the line here, but so the camera is in a better position. That's played out on the onside. No addition to the score. Batsman comes well forward and smothers the spin. End of the over with a score 210 for 4. Graham says had to come out of. I don't think we can mention that. You know, a well-known site. You can go on and get pictures of all sorts of things, and then sign in again, and sound came back. Have had to watch the live stream from second day onwards. Has have a sore leg and are limping very badly. Well, I'm very, very sorry to hear that, Graham. Graham the bookie, a River Stand regular. Some years ago, there used to be a bookie's stand here, much frequented by one of my colleagues, and one or two of the Essex players at the time. I remember Mark Waugh was a very, very keen patron of the booking facility here at the county ground, but that's long since gone. So thanks everybody. I'm sure somebody emailed about the 12 points.
Porter bowls to Kyle Verreynne. Nudges this up to mid-on, and there's no run. Verreynne has 12, Haynes has 4, 210 for 4. Been playing for about 45 minutes. Lots of essentially got to bat for 6 hours, and losing Hamid and Clark very early on in the piece. Both gone inside 6 overs this morning. That would have given Essex a huge lift. Both wickets taken by Sam Cook. He's been replaced by Jamie Porter, who pushes this to Snater in the offside. And there's no run. Lancashire now 8 down, 195 for 8 up at Chesterley Street. That might be the first Division 1 game to fold. Matty Potts has had a good morning. He's taken 3 wickets in next to no time this morning, and he's got 7 of the 8. Matty Potts has played a little bit for England this summer, very often on the periphery. 7 for 52 from 19 overs, his figures up there, Matt Potts. As Verreynne again, I think for the 3rd time in the over, pushes it in the general direction of Shane Snater.
Thanks, Ken, for your email. Yes, this is the one that alluded to, well, more than alluded to, mentioned the 12-point fine. He says, I suppose there must be some sort of action against the club, indeed, but he says the culprits are surely the batsmen, not the manufacturers. The dimension, I'll come back to that because it's quite an amusing predicted text.
Porter to Verreynne. Again, happy just to watch the ball onto the face and ease it out on the offside, no run.
He actually says the dimensions of the babes have been known for long enough. Yeah, it's a bit of a predicted text, which can be a bit of a menace at times. Bats, obviously. From what I understand, and the whole thing is shrouded in mystery, as so much in cricket is, that there was tape around the bat, but I'm not saying that is it, but that's the popular story.
Porter bowls. Verreynne drives again, a little more convincingly this time, but can't get it beyond wideish mid-off.
Well, I find that a little surprising, really, because obviously in club cricket, and I did, you keep the same bat because you get to know it and like it, and also can't afford another one, so you do anything to keep it going and wrap it up. But at a professional level, if you don't like your bat or there's something slightly wrong with it, you get another.
Porter once more, and again a nice clunk off the bat, but stopped by the bowler. So it was a maiden. It wasn't exactly a threatening maiden in that Kyle Verreynne met fire with fire in every delivery, but couldn't penetrate the offside. Porter 9 overs, none for 32.
David also emails, thank you very much for all your emails coming in, that's splendid, we really enjoy these. Enjoying the cricket and your commentary as always. I've just read that Essex will be deducted 12 points because of Cushy using an oversized bat in a county championship game. Yes, it was the one at Notts, we believe. Surely bat manufacturers have a standard template. Yes. I'll come back to this. As I say, it's a little bit difficult with Harmer bowling because he really wastes no time, which is good for the game, but not good for reading emails. And that's played back to the bowler.
I just can't believe it's taken this long to resolve.
Well, it does seem very strange.
It does seem very strange. Very much a clear-cut case. It either went through the gauge or it didn't.
It didn't, precisely.
It didn't,
they move in a mysterious way, these administrators. That's played back to the bowler, the batsman having come down the wicket a pace or two.
That's taken, 4 or 5 months. So what happened if something similar happens here today now?
Exactly.
Is this going to take until February, March to resolve?
Oh, yes, at least. And that's pushed out on the offside, just back for the square, no addition to the score.
How did, there's a case to answer. How do you plead, essentially?
No, it's not a case of, is it or isn't it? It either does go through the gauge or it doesn't, full stop, same with the ball. And, there's a couple more points that, David, it's his email address, but he signs it, David from Chelmsford. I think we can identify with Chelmsford. That's outside the off stump and beats the batsman. Goes through to the keeper. Kind regards, Smudge, presumably is his nickname. Don't know if that's something to do with his handwriting or what. And Harmer moves in, bowls, played firmly, defensively by Haynes, scuttled through that over. So the other point it says, if a player and indeed a cricket club use an illegal, in quotes, bat unknowingly, I would expect them to be exonerated, and the focus of the investigation should be on the bat manufacturer. I would appreciate your views on the subject, as Essex seem to have had their fair share of bad luck with similar decisions. Thanks, David or Smudge, or however you like to be known, but however you like to be known, you're warmly welcome. As I say, I understand that the bat had tape round it, which, puts a whole new dimension on it. And, I can't really comment any further. And obviously, if it was illegal, then Essex have to be penalised. And I think, we never know. There doesn't seem to be any consistency. We don't know why 12 is the number. If Essex had been in with a real chance of being champions, would the fine imposed or the penalties being imposed be fewer because they didn't want to affect Essex's chances of being champions, or would it be more because they certainly didn't want them to be champions? So, as they always say, it begs more questions than answers.
No, I can't believe there's... that sounds a bit scurrilous. I would imagine somewhere there's some legislation that says if the bat doesn't go through the gauge,
well,
you'll be...
you'd think so, but in which case, why did it take them so long?
I've not read the findings. I wasn't aware it was public at the moment. As Walter bowls, and this is pushed into the offside, and there's no run. I guess the only possible mitigation could be, this won't have happened, but if on the day Feroz Kouchi had, I don't know, just popped into the, I'm making up a scenario here.
Yeah.
None of this would have happened. But say just popped into the match referee's office or the umpire's office before the game, room before the game. Have you got a gauge? I just want to test my bat.
Yes.
This goes through to the keeper, and there was a gauge there, and it went through, and what have you. I mean, that, you might just feel a little harshly done to if then you went out onto the field and it didn't go through a different gauge. But genuinely, I just don't know why it's taken too long. It just seems cut and dried. If it's not gone through the gauge, I know the bat was confiscated at the time and given to the match referee was Steve Davis. I was at Trembridge at the time. I did speak to the umpires just to clarify. As Walter bowls, and this is turned on the leg side, and Verena gets a single, and it was just, it was cleared up, simple, straight as anything. It was cleared up. Then the bat didn't go through the gauge. It was confiscated. Feroz Kouchi had to
Yeah, I couldn't
with a
agree.
different bat which went through the gauge, and the one that he used was confiscated and handed to the match referee for further investigation.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The very fact that it's been postponed all these months does suggest or give reason for people to think that the powers that be were going to see where Essex lie in the table before deciding what the fine was. Well, the fine, I keep using the word fine, penalty, should be the same, surely, irrespective.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I'd totally forgotten all about it actually till this week, as it's defended. Hadn't heard any more about it, and completely erased it from memory. Anyway, Paul Walter is bowling at the moment. We are in the 72nd over, so there will be that opportunity to exchange this old dog-chewed kookaburra for a brand new one in half an hour or so. Let's see what Essex do then, if they have seam at both ends to begin with, as Jack Haynes punches this to a wide-ish mid-off. There's no run. He's already faced 40 deliveries for his 4 runs, Haynes. 211 for 4. 2 wickets this morning. 2 of Nottinghamshire's big guns, obviously, the captain Asiba Mead and Joe Clark, both out to Sam Cook. Walter, left arm over the wicket bowls, and Haynes plays this again with soft hands up to mid-off, end of the over. And it remains 211 for 4, Verena 13, Haynes is on 4, Lyndon James doing next at 7, and then Liam Patterson-White, Luke Fletcher, who, if and when he comes to the crease, will be on a king pair, Rob Lord and Farhan Ahmed.
Thanks, Nick, for your email. Nick from Stowmarket. That's just trying to think where Stowmarket is. Looking, yeah, that's a reasonable journey from Suffolk. So it's good of you to support the county, especially on a fairly chilly day. Well, as he implies, or more than implies, he says, I'm sitting in the Tiptree stand quite alone.
Which stand is that then?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest, which is a Tiptree stand. And there's nothing on it, I don't think, to say it's a Tiptree stand. Maybe it used to be. That's played backward square on the offside. It says, some fool told me cricket was a summer sport. Send the St Bernard with a barrel of brandy. Yes, well, if we could, we would, but A, we haven't got any brandy, and B, we're not sure if dogs other than guide dogs are allowed in the ground. Harmer moves in and bowls. And that's worked away on the onside, and fielded eventually by Benkenstein. Made a bit of a mess of it, but they were never going to take a single. He sort of flapped around a bit. As Harmer moves in again and bowls to Haynes. Haynes has 4 in his account, and with a bit of a flourish and plays it out to long off, and skipper Wesley is in pursuit from long on, but doesn't get there in time, and it crosses the rope for 4 runs, taking Notts onto 216 for 4. A few more emails have come in, thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more. So we'll get on to those ere long, as that's just played to Robin Dass, who spent virtually the whole of the Notts innings fielding at short leg, just a few yards in front of the bat. Harmer moves in again, bowls. You could probably hear the squeals of excitement, but no real chance of taking the wicket. Harmer in again, bowls. Oh, and an edge there, but or was it the pad? I'm not sure. Anyway, it didn't go near a fielder. End of the over. Russell again says Thanks for your in-depth analysis of my email. Well, it was Dave that did the analysis. I assure you, I can take no credit for that whatever. You're right, Notts haven't been good enough. He says, on a lighter note, great to see Worcester having proved the critics wrong and have given a good account of themselves. If you remember, Dave, you came over and had a chat with me in the Crown at Worcester when Notts were the visitors. Thanks again for reading out the email and a great commentary from Russell. Still disgruntled Notts supporter. Yeah.
Thanks, Russ.
Thanks very much. If I'm struggling with emails, I do apologise. I've got them coming up on my phone. And 3 weeks ago I had laser eye surgery, which has done wonders for my distant vision. But it has had an effect which I anticipated on my reading vision. So I really need longer arms now to read the...
There's a man with long arms, Paul Walter bowling.
Yes, indeed.
To Verena, cuts this to backward point, or deep backward point, Benkenstein Fields. Interesting little dual tussle, if you like, going on at Taunton, where Tom Banton got injured earlier on in the game for Somerset, and he's gone in at number 11, and Somerset were 150 for 9. The last pair are Craig Overton and Tom Banton, and clearly whatever his ailment was isn't stopping him plundering runs as this is defended. Overton is 48 not out, Banton is 45 not out. As I say, they put 70 on in reasonably quick time, end of yesterday and this morning after they started late for rain. So Somerset now at 220 for 9, leading Surrey by 216. And as I saw Anthony Gibson, the Somerset commentator, put this morning, the championship very much on the line here, because if Surrey win that, they're essentially 40 clear with 2 to go. As this is chipped back to the bowler, and Walter takes the catch. Is Jack Haynes standing there because he believes it's a bump ball, or is he standing there in frustration? Either way, he's got to go. Good catch by Walter with those long arms. Good caught and bowl. And there is the 5th wicket. Jack Haynes, whose dogged resistance stretched to 47 deliveries, is out to his 48th. Caught and bowled by Walter for 8. And Notts are now 217 for 5.
Yes, it's funny you should say that, because clearly the batsman was just very upset about being out, but I thought it was a bump ball, but I'm not in a very good position to see because the shot was obscured by the batsman himself. But I don't think the batsman had any doubts that he had hit it straight back, a leading edge straight back to Paul Walter, but he just hung around because he thought, oh dear, what have I done? All words to that effect. So 217 for 5 now, and Haynes is out, caught and bowled for 8.
So here comes the recent England Lions captain, capped last week by Notts, Lyndon James, coming in at 7. We did see him have a couple of years batting at 5, churning out the runs. That was in a period where he was just having an issue or two with back and side, and wasn't bowling. Now very much a full all-rounder. I've just seen a replay. I don't think there was any suggestion it was a bump ball. No. It was a nice clean catch by Walter at his end, but at Haynes' end it just turned the bat face just a little too early, and it just ballooned back towards the bowler off the outside edge. Nicely taken by the big man.
Michael in Garcia, Spain. Oh, fantastic. Has a view on the bat.
So Walter, his first ball, left alone by Lyndon James.
He says, and I'll read it verbatim if I can stretch my arm long enough. From the reports I've read, the reason the decision is delayed so long was that Essex appealed the original decision with the bat maker, which went to an independent panel. Okay, thanks.
Walter bowls, playing away from his body, driven in the offside and caught. A wonderful catch by Snater. Super catch. Second ball, Lyndon James is out, and quick as a flash, Walter's got a 2 for wonderful catch, leaping up in the air in the covers. Lyndon James has actually dropped his bat there in nothing more than disbelief. But Snater with a really top draw catch, and Notts are wobbling now. They're right on the brink. 217 for 6. Liam Patterson-White will be coming to the crease a lot earlier than he or the travelling supporters would have hoped. Notts have lost 4 wickets in the first 65 minutes here, as Lyndon James, playing away from his body, is caught high up to his left. Couldn't see actually if he took it one-handed or two. He may even with a one-handed pluck, but a terrific catch, and Lyndon James has gone second ball.
Now, from what I remember, Snater pulled off an equally impressive catch to get rid of Verena in the first innings. In a similar position out in the covers.
That one was hit straight to him, actually, Verena's.
Oh, was it? I must have. Well, obviously I'm confusing it with something else, and I don't know what, but never mind.
So we've got a left-hander. Well, they're in the middle now. Liam Patterson-White does have a first-class 100 to his name, but that's going back a few years now. Is it 2019 at Taunton? Could just do with him settling in alongside Verena here for a lengthy stay. Book in for bed and breakfast, Liam. You can bat for as long as you want if you're capable of doing it, but the threat that the second new ball was just around the corner has certainly been put on hold, because with this old ball, Paul Walter's taken 2 wickets in 3 deliveries in this over. 1 ball to go. Walter to the left-hander, down the leg side and through to Pepper. Good applause for Paul Walter. 2 for 12 his figures from 5 overs. Jiggs has been in touch. Jiggs spends his life on the canals and waterways of the British Isles, and listens to the Notts commentaries when they're playing. Just manoeuvred onto the Trent, Dave. Heard about the morning flurry. Here's to a rebuilding. Maybe make it to tea if they can. When I can have a listen to the life of Riley as such. Emptying the toilet. Loading some winter wood, and keep on doing the good work. Thank you, Jiggs. All the best to you and your shipmates on the waterways of the British Isles. It's a nice way to spend your life, isn't it, Dickie? Just
oh yes,
on a riverboat, houseboat.
Harmer moves in again and bowls. Worked away on the onside.
Richard says he's surprised that players actually put tape round the bats. When you
that was my view.
The post-win dressing celebrations involving hitting their bats on the ceiling and such. Yeah, that's not something I'm a great fan of, actually, Richard. It really isn't. Sides who have a victory song whilst the defeated side are still there, getting dressed and all the rest of it, getting changed.
I couldn't agree more. That's just play defence. Triumphalism of any sort, I think, can be a little bit embarrassing at times.
We all know the guilty culprits.
Short of the length, goes in the back foot. It's Tom Wesley in the deep at long off, who runs several yards to his right, and the batsman goes through for a second run.
But we've left Durham enough times, Chester Street enough times, with Bladen Racers ringing in our ears, and that ridiculous Blackbird song down at Taunton as well. 2 of the worst offenders to my mind.
In again, and Patterson-White goes in the back foot, plays it just backward of square on the offside. Picked up by Porter.
And the Welsh, of course, they love a sing-song, don't they?
Oh, they do. Don't they let us know it? That's not a criticism of the Welsh. I'm a quarter Welsh. great.
No, not at all. But just in general, I think it's just good manners. Wait until the bus has gone.
Yeah, I agree entirely. It's really no, I don't want to say it's. No, I'll stick to what I was.
What goes around comes around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And, if they start singing victory songs in your face, expect to get a bit back, and where does it stop? But I think it'd make it.
It's things like this that, to my mind, lower the higher standards in which the very game of cricket used to be held, and I emphasise the used to be. Now cricket is, prone to some of the foibles of other sports that it always used to sort of say, oh no, we're a bit better than that. And now, basically if you can't beat them, join them, I suppose. And a lot of the less endearing habits in other sports are filtering at best into cricket. It all comes down, as so many things in life do, to money, I think.
There's Walter bowling to Verena, who's been out there a while now. That's the 27th ball. Carl Verena's face this morning. Notts have lost 4 wickets. Asiba Mead was first to go. LBW to Sam Cook for 105. That was in the 60th over. And Joe Clark, just a couple of overs later, caught Harmer. Really good shot. Catch by Harmer at slip from the bowling of Cook for 67, as Verena plays this with soft hands on the leg side. 194 for 4 when Joe Clark was out in the 62nd over. In the 74th, and there's 2 wickets going down as Notts very quickly went from 217 for 4 to 217 for 6. Jack Haynes caught and bowled by Walter for 8, and Lyndon James well caught in the covers by Shane Snater. Second ball without scoring. Walter in again, pitches it up, driven by Verena to a wideish mid-off position, and there's no run. Best day of the 4 by quite some considerable distance. The first and second days are absolutely awful in terms of being cold and chilly, and the darkness, the floodlights on throughout. First 2 days as Verena will turn this on the leg side. Certainly one. Will they risk a second? No, they won't. Just one. So Verena moves on to 17, 221 for 6. Yesterday was better. We had 1 or 2 brief interruptions yesterday, and we found ourselves at 5:45, having bowled the requisite number of overs. Some had been lopped off the allocation due to the stoppages earlier in the day, but they had made the announcement we will go on until 6 o'clock, or whichever number of overs had been bowled. This is turned by Liam Patterson-White for his first. No, he's already got a couple, I beg your pardon, for a couple of runs, so he'll double his tally from 2 to 4. But at 5:45 we did have the situation of the overs on the board showing 0, and a number of the players started to head off.
They did, didn't they? I was astonished at that, because you'd think they'd know the regulations.
Yeah, it did seem like Joe Clark certainly was playing for stumps and thought he'd done his job, tucked his bat under his arm and trooped off, and it's the end of the over as Walter Fields, from a forceful drive from Patterson-White. 223 for 6 Notts. They've somehow got to get to 364 even to make Essex bat again, but it's all about getting through the day, through the 96 overs, and still having something intact. You'd say from here on in it would be astonishing if Notts could get through it with their own means. I don't think the forecast suggests we're going to get too much help in terms of Nottinghamshire being saved by the weather, so somebody's got to grind it out.
Yes.
Luke Fletcher doing next, so that's how parlous the situation is. With all due respect to my mate.
Harmer. and it just pushed back to the bowler. Somewhat ironically, Harmer has bowled unbroken for the first hour and a quarter, and but he's not taken a wicket. The 4 to go, 2 to Cook and 2 to Walter. But maybe that's not coincidence. That's worked away, as we've been saying yesterday. Sometimes the pressure at one end results somewhat bizarrely in wickets the other. Harmer has played out on the onside. Harmer in again over the wicket, and that's chopped down to wide third man, or backward point.
Well, if anybody should know Harmer's variations, it would be Kyle Verreynne, of course, because I know Harmer's not played that many tests in his career, but he has flitted in and out of the test side over the last couple of years, whilst Verreynne has had the national team's gloves, so we'll have kept him many times, so he should be able to read him.
So that's outside the off stump. Batsman left-handed, thrusts a big right foot forward and then allows it to pass by.
It's got to be a significant advantage, you'd imagine, in this situation for Verreynne facing Harmer.
Who moves in now, bowls, and that's played with stern and stolid defence. Back to the bowler.
We did see Liam Patterson-White take the positive approach against Harmer yesterday, lifted him up here, didn't he, for 6 just before he was dismissed. Might even have been the ball before he was dismissed, I'm not sure.
And batsman goes on to the back foot there and plays it out to Tom Westley, fielding just below us at Loroff, and it concludes the over with the visitors 225 for 6, and they trail still by 139 with 4 wickets in hand.
Surrey will need 221 to defeat Somerset, who are eventually all out. Tom Banton out for 46 to Shakib Al Hassan, who got 5 wickets in the second innings, so he's had he's been flown in for 1 game. Shakib Al Hassan got 5 wickets in the second innings, 4 in the first, so they're getting plenty of bang for their buck there. Sorry, in that signing of the Bangladesh all-rounder Shakib Al Hassan.
Yes, Banton, we understand, has twisted his ankle or something, unsurprisingly, in the pre-match warm-up playing football. I wonder how many players that's happened to.
Walter bowls a very short delivery, which goes over the back of the crouching Liam Patterson-White and through to the keeper. Yes, he went in at 11. I've no idea whether they granted any requests for a runner then. If it was an ankle issue, you'd be, I don't know, you'd be in 2 minds, wouldn't you? First and second in the championship. Are you going to let your rivals have a runner for a footballing injury? I don't know. He's played up to mid-on. I don't know if he did or not, but certainly not a bad number 11 to have coming in. I can remember a one-day game we're getting on for 8-9 years or so ago now at Trent Bridge. That match, a lot of Notts supporters will remember it, where both sides got 400. They were playing Northants. Notts got 445. Michael Lum and Ricky Vessels put, what did they put on? Put 300 on, but then Northants had got an injury to Richard Levy as another short ball goes over the head of Patterson-White. Another dangerous, hard-hitting South African. He'd injured himself in the field. He came in at 11 and started smashing it to all parts, and Northants, I know, chasing 440 or so, got up to 420 something before he got out. It's astonishing. 225 for 6. Walter bowls, Patterson-White defends. It was 180 for 2 at the start of play this morning. That's where Notts resumed with a Seba Mead on 100, Joe Clark on 62. So this morning, 45 for 4. Again, battling to save the game, battling for precious draw points that may be so crucial in the end. Losing 4 wickets for 45. This is pushed back to the bowler, just as Lancashire lose their 9th wicket at Chestilly Street. So Durham 1 wicket away from the win there, and it's another wicket for Matty Potts. He's 8 for 67. Just needs one more, or Durham just need one more there, save for the win. But Matty Potts has almost single-handedly run through Lancashire in their second innings. 221 for 9, 124 away from making Durham bat again. As a drive from Patterson White is stopped, I think, by the heel or the ankle of Paul Walter. It would have been 4 otherwise, and somehow he's got through a maiden over there. 7 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 15, but it was only his big size 15s that just managed to get in the way and stopped a boundary. And we've got a bowling change at this end.
Yes, we have. It's going to be Critchley, Matt Critchley, I think. And well, the new ball is due in just a couple of overs' time. 78 gone, is that so?
Yep.
78 gone. So I wonder if that means Critchley's only going to have 1 over. Well, time will tell. And he's bowled yesterday unthreateningly at best. It wasn't on form yesterday, and he'll know that better than anyone. So he's going to have 2 slips to the right-handed Verena, backward point, mid-off, man on the cover boundary, mid-on, long leg, deep mid-wicket, and a long off. Leg breaks, conventional leg breaks, and the occasional googly. He moves in now and bowls. Short of a length, chopped away to the man on the deep cover boundary, and they go through for a couple of comfortable runs. So, one would expect the new ball to be taken as soon as it can. But if Critchley gets a wicket, it might alter the complexion of things. Again, short of a length outside the off stump. Again, played out to the man deep on the boundary. First time he had to go to his right, this time to his left, but each time 2 runs accrued. Taking the score on to 229 for 6, a deficit of 135 with 4 wickets in hand. Critchley again short, again played out in the covers, but this time cut off at point. A good sprawling dive, reduced it to just 1 run. And brings the left-handed Liam Patterson White down to the business end. It also means that there's a discussion between batsman, bowler and captain regarding field placing, and changes there too. Quite a lengthy discussion indeed. But they've now decided where they want everybody. And Critchley moves into bowl. Well, he does in a minute. There's still a bit of tinkering around with the field. Also, the batsman is standing there making sure he knows exactly where the fielders are and therefore where the gaps are. And that's played through a large gap on the offside. I hesitate. Will it, won't it, will it, won't it? No, it won't quite reach the boundary. A combination of 2 fielders hauls it in, 1 short of the 4 and about a yard short of the boundary as well. So takes the visitors on to 233 for 6. And Critchley in again. Played back to the bowler. First dot ball of the over, I think. Yep, 2213 dot. Critchley in again. Again, it's short of a length outside the off stump. Played straight to the man in the deep, therefore they only take a single. End of the over, which did Nottinghamshire more favours than Essex, in all honesty. And it took the visitors on to 234 for 6.
It's 9 from that over. That's 79 overs now complete. Paul Walter, let's say, hands his cap. He hasn't yet handed his cap to the umpire. He's taken it off, and now he does. On with his sweater. So this might be his final over for a while. 7 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 15 for Paul Walter. Done a good job this morning. Caught and bowled to dismiss Jack Haynes for 8, and then saw Lyndon James drive into the covers. A good leaping catch by Shane Snater. Verena, 24 from 38. We'll get at least one more here. In fact, it will just be a single. Turning it down to long leg. Fielded by Robin Das. So we'll all swap over for the left-handed LPW. 235 for 6. Nottinghamshire, the last wicket went down on 217, so they've added 18 wickets this morning, going down at 185 for 3, 194 for 4, and then 217 for 5 and 217 for 6. Walter to Patterson White. Plays with soft hands out to Matt Critchley. Coming in, saving one at mid-wicket. Lunch just over half an hour or so away at 12:30. That would be, I guess, a realistic Nottinghamshire target for this pair, but you can't afford to look too far ahead. Just try and make sure you don't get out of the next ball you face, as Patterson White will get a couple here, just running it into the gaps on the offside. We'll move into double figures.
Thanks, Paul, for your email. Essex fan now living in Kent. Lots of my mates are Kent fans, and if Notts fans are fed up with this season, imagine being a Kent fan. Looking forward to an Essex win. Thanks for brilliant BBC commentary, he says. Well, thank you, Paul, both for your email and your kind words.
Walter, left armour to Patterson White, left-hander. Played up to mid-on. There's no run. Jamie Porter not only doing the fielding, but then turning his arms over as if he might be expecting to get the nod with regards to the second new ball. We've seen Sam Cook bowling this morning. We've seen Jamie Porter bowling this morning. We haven't seen Shane Snater turn his arm over today.
No.
Did a few spells yesterday. This one over the arch of Patterson White's bat.
Mark emailed saying, thanks, good morning. Enjoying the live stream here in Israel. Surely the offence of the wide bat is a player offence as opposed to a team offence. A punishment for the player seems to be more appropriate than punishing the whole team. I think it just said that Feroz Kushi got reprimanded, but nothing more than that. Should come into the headmaster's study.
Walter pitches it up. Liam Patterson White jabs his bat down on it. End of the over. 237 for 6, and that is the end of the 80th over. So there might now be a few deliberations and a few glances towards the umpire to see if the new ball is being brought out.
And another email from Ken. He says, your mention of the bookies tent at Chelmsford reminds me what's happened to to Paul Newton. I hope he is right. He was Paul was a great supporter of the bookies tent. Paul was on duty here the first 2 days, which were losing track of the days. Monday and Tuesday. Yesterday's Thursday, isn't it? Yeah. So Paul's in action. He says, "Don't talk to me about predictive text." Sorry, I'll come back to that. I don't think I got the whole of the text up here. I'll go back in and get it. Predicted text is a strange animal, but then aren't we all? As Porter it is from the river end, the Cook end, with the new ball, presumably, or I'm not sure he's already taken it or if he will take it. Sometimes they like a delivery or two with the old ball to sort of limber up before they actually take the new cherry. And I can't tell by looking. No, it does look quite shiny, so perhaps he did take it straight away. Porter moves in, bowls. And that's worked away on the onside for 1 run by Verena. Taking knots on to 238 for 6. Verena is 26. Patterson White has 10. So thanks again for your emails. I really do appreciate them. It's much prefer talking about what you want to talk about rather than what we want to talk about, which smacks of self-indulgence. So apart from describing the action, of course, Porter round the wicket now to the left-handed Patterson White, who has a flash and is caught behind, and Nottinghamshire lose their 7th wicket. They're 238 for 7. It was a bit of a
wicket, 238 for 7. Now they're 126 away.
A rash flash outside the off stump,
again, but that's
and
unlikely. Essex need 3 more wickets.
It was really doing exactly what the bowler wanted him to do, of course, and
the second year ball has got rid of Liam Patterson White. Knots 238 for 7.
so Porter takes his first wicket of the innings and his 6th of the match, and Patterson White for 7. We're told on the public address, out for 7. So that sees Robert Lord come to the crease. Luke Fletcher was next on the menu, but Lord's come in ahead of him. And so it's like yesterday. It's been very much Essex's morning. Essex had a very good morning and a very indifferent rest of the day, and today they've had a very good morning, having taken 5 already at 185, 194, 217, 217 and 238. So Essex will be, even if they don't take another wicket this morning before lunch, they'll be very pleased with their morning's work, justifiably. And so it does bring Lord to the middle. Right-handed batsman. So at least the bowlers have a consistency of batsmen to attack. They had a right and left-handed combination before as Porter moves in, right arm over the wicket, bowls to Lord, goes on the back foot, played out square on the offside. No more addition to the score.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision to send Rob Lord out. Not seeing too much of him, of course. This is just his 2nd first-class game. Luke Fletcher dismissed first ball yesterday in the Nottinghamshire first innings. Rob Lord hung around a little longer when he came in at number 10. Let's see what he can do with the promotion of the order.
Plays that confidently and competently enough back to the bowler, Jamie Porter. And still to come, Luke Fletcher and Farhad Ahmed. On a bright sunny, crisp autumn day here at the City of Chelmsford. That's played with stolid defence as well off the back foot this time. End of the over, very successful run for Porter. And Essex take their first wicket with the new ball. And now they'll be hoping that, presumably, that Cook can do the same at the other end. Yes, it does look to see as, yeah, I'm sure that's Cook. Who else would it be? I suppose it might be Slater. Slater has been given the new ball on occasions, but you'd think Cook would be the obvious choice.
From the ground region, Sam Cook.
So Cook with 2 wickets comes on again to bowl the 82nd over, dismissed Asiba Mead and Joe Clark earlier this morning. It would seem to be just a case of when rather than will with regards to Essex winning this match.
3 slips, a first, a second and a fourth, so it means that the ball's bound to go through the gap.
Here he comes, bowls to Verena, who's played nicely and elects to take a single from the first ball. Essex won't mind that at all. They'd set the field a little deep, allowing Verena the opportunity to take that run, and he proceeded to nudge it up to Allison, sub-fielder at mid-on. So Verena on 27, that's 239 for 7. Still 125 unrealistic runs away from making Essex bat again. No sign of any interruptions to the weather. Cook to Lord, leaves it alone. Nicely judged. It goes through to Michael Pepper. People joining us all the time. Asiba Mead was out LBW this morning too. Sam Cook for 105, just adding 5 to his overnight score. He got a full pitch delivery on or around leg stump. He went across his stumps trying to work it away down to long leg or square leg, and thudded into the pad. It didn't seem to think it was a particularly good decision if his body language was anything to go by, but Peter Hartley had a look and judged it would have clattered into leg stump as Lord pushes this out to Snater in the covers. Second to go was Joe Clark in Cook's next over. It was a thickish outside edge and there was a sort of a split slip formation, and Harmer was sort of third or fourth slip but dived high to his left, sort of taking it about second or 2.5 slip area. Wonderful grab from Simon Harmer. Joe Clark out for 67. He'd also added just 5. Oh, this one is edged, as Dickie said, between second and fourth slip for 4 to Rob Lord. Just bisected them perfectly, and had there been a man in there, I think that would have been gobbled up.
You'd have bet the mortgage on that happening.
So Lord underway. There was a little partnership then which took the score from 194 for 4 to 217 for 5. Jack Haynes was out to the left arm bowler Paul Walter. It was a caught and bowled. Just wondered for a split second if it had been a bump ball, but replay certainly confirmed it was clean. It was a good catch from Walter. Haynes out for 8, and 2 balls later Lyndon James also fell to the same bowler, driving to Snater in the covers. Good catch this one, as Lord plays the next ball up to mid-on. That was 217 for 6, and in the last over 238 for 7 when Liam Patterson-White just nibbled at Jamie Porter. Third ball with the second new ball, and he edged it through to Michael Pepper.
And Critchley, who was at fourth slip, now shuffles across a couple of paces to go into third slip position. So there's that little cordon of 2 South Africans and a Lancastrian. I know he played for Derbyshire, but I think he's a Lancashire lad.
Next ball is past the outside edge and through to Pepper. End of the over 243 for 7. Lancashire hanging on at Durham 243 for 9. Kent 134 for 4, battling to avoid defeat against Hampshire at Canterbury, and Surrey a 9 without loss, having been set to score 221 to defeat Somerset at Taunton. Warwickshire haven't lost a wicket this morning. They are 237 for 3, building up a lead over Worcestershire at New Road. And in Division 2, Gloucestershire are 80 for 3, requiring a further 154 to beat Middlesex at Lords.
So Porter, unsurprisingly, continuing from the Cook end, the end from which we're watching and commentating. And moves in now to bowl to Verena, who goes on the back foot and then sort of moves his weight on to his front foot from his back foot and just plays it defensively out into the covers. Porter trudges back, quite businesslike, quite briskly trudges back. It is after all only his second over. As he moves in now, and that's just stabbed out into the covers for a single.
Yes, Essex content to let Verena have a single whenever and wherever he wants, just so they can bowl at the other end.
Porter takes the ball for his captain, who was fielding at conventional mid-off. Well, I say conventional, yes, by the time he's moved in with the bowler he's probably capable of stopping the single. Porter moves in now, and that's played down probably for 4 runs down to third man. It seemed to come off the middle of the bat. I don't know if it was intended to go there, but it seemed to be more or less a legitimate shot, and perfect, and most definitely without any form of risk. And so it goes down to the little stand there, which seems to have in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in it, I think. 5 of whom are in the front row, and 1 of whom is in the very back row. And Porter in again. And it's played again with stern defence. It just about makes its way out to Essex skipper Tom Wesley at mid-off, who then polishes the ball.
A number of people have been in touch. Tony a few minutes ago, blimey, the collapse is happening again today. Andy Dixon, saving graces at Lancs, are on the cusp of a thrashing elsewhere. This round of games somehow will leave us 1 point better off in the scrap than when we started, with 2 games still to go.
Porter to Lord, playing a miss, just moved away off the wicket and left the batsman.
Chris Dougherty not happy, understandably, for a team trying to save a game. The last 2 dismissals have been appalling. Flat-footed swish from Liam Patterson-White. Verena threw his head back in disbelief at the non-striker's end. No fight, no application from some of these players. Been the same for years. Awful. Thank you, Chris. Praise cricket if you have a similar view or a different view. All views welcome.
Porter into Lord, picked up a run here, just playing it pleasantly enough out to mid-wicket or deep forward square leg to Snater, who hasn't had a bowl today. Took one superb catch but hasn't had a bowl. End of the over, and not to 249 for 7. Still deficit of 115.
Yeah, about 16 minutes to go until lunch. I think if this pair can hang on till 1:30, they will take lunch. I would imagine if another wicket goes down, then Essex would ask for the session to be extended, and the umpires I think would grant that extension. If not, we're 8 down, I'm sure they would. So it might be done and dusted in this session yet. Normally they say if it's just 9 down, but the umpires, if they think you can wrap it up in the next 15 minutes or so, will grant an extension. First ball of Cook's next over, left alone by Rob Lord, who's on 9. Lovely conditions that, ironically, wondered where days like this were over the first 2 days. break in the cloud, and it was dark cloud at that as well. It was awful. As a bouncer goes over the head of Rob Lord. He didn't bob down particularly low there. Something got Matt Critchley animated.
Yes, I was going to use exactly the same word, actually, animated. I'm not quite sure why.
He felt he'd heard something, heard a snick or some such. Didn't actually get very low there, Rob Lord. Might be advised, if you are going to duck underneath the bouncer, well, duck underneath the bouncer. Don't leave a periscope sticking up, or leave your head there to be struck. As a leg gully is now brought into play, so might be a little bit more short stuff from Sam Cook, who comes in, bowls, and was just nipped back and struck Rob Lord somewhere. But thankfully he's okay. 249 for 7 in the 84th over of the innings. Lots have added 69 this morning for the loss of Hamid for 105, Clark 67, Haynes for 8, Lyndon James without scoring, and Liam Patterson-White for 10. Just Luke Fletcher and Farhan Ahmed left in the hutch. Lord will get a single here, and it comes off the outside portion of the bat safely along the ground. A sprawling stop of sorts by Luke Benkenstein, and Notts get 250. They get a little ripple of applause. Gallows humour, because I can see there's a few Notts fans wearing the green and gold away to my right applauding. Had they done that in the first innings, of course, it would have brought them a batting bonus point, and that, as has been the case for a number of years now, has been an issue. Not enough runs in the first innings. Cook to Verena, push to mid-on, and he did, in fairness to Rob Lord there, take a pace or two, Verena, as if he was going to push and run, and Rob Lord responded to what he could see, and he set off, and then he had to quickly get back because the ball was played straight to Paul Walter, but in the end no damage was done. It remains 250 for 7.
Do you get the impression there are many Notts supporters here, Dave?
Yep. Over the course of the game there's been a good following, as there usually is. Next delivery is cut away by Verena for 4. Well, that's token resistance maybe, but nice shot from Verena. It's 4 runs. They're going to need plenty more of those. It'll take another minute or two out of the game, because that's the end of the over, and I know it is just maybe delaying the inevitable, but who knows. Games have been saved from this sort of situation, but not often, and not often recently by Notts.
So, somewhat predictably, Porter's going to continue from this end with about 10 and a half minutes to go. This end being the Cook end, formerly known as the River end, or never known as the City end, but the City is just a matter of 100 yards behind us, literally, as Porter moves in and bowls, and that's played out to Paul Walter at mid-on. I can't think of any ground which is near the middle of the city. Taunton, well, it's probably about the same as Taunton, really. And similarly Middle River running behind it. The Can in this case, and the Tone at Taunton. Oh well, Hove at Sussex, of course, that's slap bang in the middle of Hove. It's just played defensively. Well, I'm never sure where Hove ends and Brighton begins.
Well, that's right, yeah. I mean, you're not too far away from the city centre in Cardiff. I know it's closer here, but I generally walk in and out wherever we stay in Cardiff.
Yeah, that very pleasant walk through Butte
the castle.
Butte Gardens, I think it's called, yes. Beside the River Taff and over the little bridge. Yes, that's part of the joys of going to Sapphire Gardens, is the walk to get there. Porter moves in and bowls, and that's just played defensively, trickles out to Paul Walter at mid-on.
Mark says chances are Notts will survive in Division 1, but then what? How do they improve next season? I've watched the seconds this week, saw plenty of spirit in that team. Maybe time to take a lead from England and bring some promising talent through, like Dane Schardendorf. Thank you, Mark. I know as a regular attendee at the seconds games.
Porter to Lord. Plays well, accomplished defensive shot, trickled down the onside, offside rather, picked up by Benkenstein.
Last week, in his only innings against Surrey, Rob Lord made 10, got 1 in the first innings here, so he's equalled his first class best. Rob Lord, 10, looked okay at the moment, but so that's not the kiss of doom. Wesley making the field changes here. He's bringing Snater in from the leg side boundary into a save in 1 position.
Pulled round the corner for 4 runs. A valiant but in vain attempt down at the long leg boundary in front of the committee room. So committee, if they saw that bit of fielding, might not be too impressed, but they're probably having an early lunch. Takes the score on to 258 for 7. The leads, or a deficit rather, still just over 100, 106. 105 now as another single is scored out on the offside. So at least parity on first innings is not impossible, but there's still a lot of overs to go in the day. So Notts, even if they get up to the magic score that they need of 364, the job's far from done if there's still plenty of time left in the day. So obviously Essex are hot favourites to win this game at the moment, but we've all seen stranger things happen.
This pair have added 21 so far for the 8th wicket. Rob Lord's contribution is 15, so it is now a career best for him. About 8 minutes to go until lunch, so 3 overs. So, as I say, if Notts are 7 down, I think they'll go for lunch at 12:30. If they're 8 down, probably won't. As Cook comes in to try and dismiss Rob Lord. This one just is a heavy ball, as they like to say in the game. Just gets a little big on Rob Lord. Hits him sort of round about the sticker or the splice of the bat. Defends front of his body. 259 for 7. Lancashire continue to stave off defeat. 258 for 9, just 87 still behind. As Lord probably get a couple more runs here playing this square of the wicket on the offside. Benkenstein runs out towards the dressing rooms, but comfortable 2. Anderson Phillip, the new West Indian overseas, is 33 not out for Lancashire. Just holding Durham up there in their victory charge. As Cook comes in again to Rob Lord, and again a push into the offside, but this time straight to Benkenstein. The other scores at Canterbury, Kent 143 for 5. Just keeping Hampshire at bay. Surrey is 17 without loss from 11 overs. That's a quiet start at Taunton. Required 204 more to beat their closest challengers. Warwickshire 244 for 3 at New Road, leading Worcestershire by 63 with 7 wickets left. And in Division 2, Gloucestershire 95 for 3, requiring a further 139 to beat Middlesex, and that would really put a spoke in the Division 2 title races. Lord, as Dickie says, shot. Absolutely right. That was a crisp cover drive from Rob Lord, who's just starting to look the part now. Very nice indeed. That takes him to 21. But Gloucestershire well on their way there, and with Sussex winning yesterday, Yorkshire winning yesterday, it's always looked like it was going to be 2 out of those 3 to go up, but Middlesex, who end the season playing Sussex, I've got to break that 4th wicket partnership at Lords. Gloucestershire with a good start there. Bouncer over the crouching Rob Lord on this occasion. 265 for 7. One ball left in this over. The clock hits 12:25, so I think Essex should get a couple more overs in. Maybe that they fancy lunch and come out fresh afterwards. And Lord defends, so the over ends. Sam Cook, 16 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 46. Jamie Porter, he's 12 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 44. And no real surprise here that with time at the most 2 overs before lunch, unless a wicket goes down, Simon Harmer's going to have a little go.
Returning at the Sir Alistair Cook end, Simon Harmer.
As you've probably heard from Paul Parkinson, the scorer who doubles up as public address, Simon Harmer back into the attack at this end. Maybe an attempt to get an extra over in before lunch seems rather unlikely. Still wicketless in this second inning. And today anyway, he got a couple last night. That's just worked away to on the onside. Yes, he got the 2 wickets to fall yesterday, Slater and McCann, but nothing today. Moves in now and bowls. And Verena goes on the back foot, plays it out on the onside. A lot of animation from Pepper.
Be interesting to see if he does beat the infield here, whether they do take a single or not. Rob Lord won't have faced Harmer in this innings.
But he's batted so very well against the seamers, and that's nudged out.
There we are, there's the answer.
They do take a single, as it's nudged out on the offside.
The wisdom of that will become apparent over the next 3 deliveries.
Yes. Unless he scores an odd number of runs off the first 2 of those, of course, as Harmer moves in to bowl to the tall Lord. Oh dear. Well, I'm not going to say Dave predicted it. He didn't predict it as such, but
I wouldn't have allowed it to happen.
No. Would you not? I mean, it's obvious, with respect, Dave, it's easy to say that now, but would you not?
Well, I said it beforehand. I wouldn't have taken the single if I was Verena.
No.
I said it beforehand. I wouldn't have exposed him to the last 3 balls of the over. I've just said it, and he didn't last the first of them. He just popped it up to short leg.
Yes, he did indeed, to Robin Das. So Lord out caught Das to give Harmer his first wicket of the day.
You know, Verena has kept wicket on any number of occasions to Simon Harmer, and has played him well this morning. And just to expose Rob Lord like that with just 3 balls to go before lunch. One thing it has done, of course, is it's taken us to 12:30, so it's going to be now on the umpires. I'm sure Tom Wesley will say, well, you'd imagine he'd say, can we claim the extra period here to try and get this done? Like I say, some captains like to have a lunch and then go back and come out refreshed, so we'll have to see. But Harmer striking with his 4th ball, and that's 266 for 8.
So Harmer to the commanding figure of Luke Fletcher.
He was on a king pair.
Yes, indeed. Harmer moves in and bowls to him now. And he's not going to get his king pair. I mean, well, I'm not quite sure what the appeal was for in the slips. It was played reasonably well. Harmer in again to Fletcher, who is dismissed. The off stump's been knocked back, and Fletcher's bowled by Harmer without scoring, so he did get a pair, albeit not quite a king pair. And the knots are 266 for 9 now.
Start the car, as they say.
Yes, they do.
Luke Fletcher was bowled by Simon Harmer.
So play will.
Although we've reached time for lunch, they can now continue for a further half hour or 8 hours.
Well, there we are. The death knell announced over the public address system that play will now continue for up to another half an hour, with Notts 9 wickets down as Farhan Ahmed, yet to score a first-class run, comes out to join Kyle Varina, who took a single from the third ball of the over.
The new batter for Nottinghamshire, Farhan Ahmed.
So Harmer took 2 wickets in that 1 over, with his fourth and final deliveries of the over. So he now has 4, 2 today, 2 yesterday, 4 for 90. And Cook to continue from the far end. He will be bowling to Varina, because that was the last ball of the over.
Yeah, it was marginal, I thought. Yeah, I thought.
With a deep set field, obviously to give Varina a single, whether or not he takes them is debatable.
So here comes Sam Cook to bowl to the South African, happy to block this one. Back to Sam Cook, 2 slips, then Elgar and Harmer. And on the offside, we've got Snater. If it was a one-day match, you'd say he stood right on the 30-yard circle. He's at extra cover. There's a point, just a pace or 2 in from the rope. There's a long off. There's a deep mid-on, a deep square leg and a long leg as Varina will drive down the ground for a single. So Essex will bring the troops in. Here they come. There was also a third man because Matt Critchley's just appeared from underneath our commentary window. 267 for 9. Varina's on 34, but he's at the wrong end. Farhan Ahmed still looking for his maiden first-class run. He's on strike. 3 slips. Cook trying to wrap this up. Bowls to the 16-year-old who pushes it out to Shane Snater with a deft bit of footwork, flicks the ball up into his hands without having to bend over.
Yep. Farhan Ahmed was not out in the first innings. He's not out and didn't open his account, so new experience beckons.
Here comes Cook, bowls to him again, short, and Ahmed high up on his tippy toes to defend. Back to the bowler. So 9 wickets have gone down, 3 to Simon Harmer, 2 to Sam Cook, 2 to Paul Walter, and 1 to Jamie Porter. In fact, Harmer's got 4 now, of course, beg your pardon, he's taken 2 in that previous over. Rob Lord and Luke Fletcher, who bags a pair. Also got Slater and a Mead, so if Cook can't finish it off, Harmer will be Looking for yet another 5 for us in LBW shout. The finger, I think, will stay down. It didn't look to be right. And the match goes on a little longer. 25-1. We're still playing with Nottinghamshire 267 for 9. 97 away from, well, an unrealistic 97 away from making Essex bat again. Looks as if it's going to be a heavy innings defeat as Cook bowls to Farhan. Again, happy to block. That's the end of the over, so well survived. Can Farhan replicate for Notts what brother Rayan did yesterday? So he got 70 odd for Leicestershire in their defeat at Grace Road to Yorkshire. Be highly unlikely and a little bit far-fetched to imagine that he could from this situation, but it'd be nice to see him stick around and get a few runs here. 267 for 9 at the end of that over.
Yes, which unsurprisingly, despite the fact that the new ball is only 8 overs old, the new over is still going to be bowled by Simon Harmer. Well, spin bowlers like a hard cricket ball as well, gets more bounce out of it.
And that's one of the 8 overs. They say half an hour or 8 overs. Well, that's one of the 8 overs that Notts have survived.
Harmer moves in and bowls. Rayner demonstrably shoulders arms with the bat lifted high out of harm's way. Harmer. Whoops. Aborts his takeoff and starts again. Not that takes much out of him. And, that's pushed out to long on. Well, yes, long on. For a single, but they take the single there. So now it's a very different challenge for Farhan Ahmed. They're used to bowling, facing useful seam attacks in club cricket, but they won't have faced somebody of Simon Harmer's spinning abilities, not Farhan Ahmed. As it gets, well, the ball's gone down to fine leg, well, almost directly behind the batsman for 4 byes. So it's got the better of the batsman, but it also got the better of the keeper as well. From Essex's point of view, they kind of, at this stage, afford to not lose too much sleep over 4 byes. And Harmer continues, bowls. Ahmed pushes forward, played into the ground, and up into the hands of Robin Das at short leg, inevitably. Harmer in again, slightly short of a length, but played confidently and competently enough. Bit ungainly, but nevertheless it still played into the ground and it trickles out on the onside to Benkenstein. It's Harmer. Gives this one a little bit more air, and that's played out into the covers for a single. A single off the last ball of the over. So, Ahmed scored his first run in county cricket now.
Yes, he's up and running, not so sure. Not so. That's 2 of the 8 overs they've negotiated, with Essex asking for the extra half an hour. If Notts do lose, it will be a 4th defeat of the season. It's not like they've been smashed every game. There's a lot of draws there. 7 draws, just the 1 win. Beat Lancashire at Trent Bridge quite convincingly earlier on in the season. Lancashire with all woes of their own. In fact, even more woes, because Lancashire now have just lost their match up at Durham, and Durham have won by an innings in 63. Lancashire all out, so they take just 1 point. So the gap at the bottom as whatever happens here been extended by, well, it looks like by 1 point as Farhan Ahmed pushes this out to Snater, who's not so going to take 2 points, assuming this ends in a defeat. So they went into this fixture 3 matches to go with a 10-point gap. They'll go to Canterbury next week with 2 matches to go with an 11-point gap over Lancashire. And of course they go to Kent as this is dropped on the leg side, and there's no run. Kent at the moment, well, they're at lunch, they're 145 for 5, trailing Hampshire by 51. They won't be relegated if they lose that one, but that could very well be confirmed next week unless they hammer knots. Every possibility they could lose today, but again, I don't think mathematically they'd be down as Farhan Ahmed plays this on the leg side. And there's no run as we're joined by listeners to 5 Sports Extra. Here we're into an extended luncheon interval at Chelmsford. Dave Bracegirdle and Dickie Davis watching on as Essex is just trying to get this final wicket here. They've had a very good morning with Nottinghamshire beginning the day with Asib Hamid and Joe Clark at the crease. They put a big stand on together as 16-year-old Farhan Ahmed pushes this into the offside, and there's no run, but Hamid and Clark both fell early on to Sam Cook this morning inside the first 20 minutes or so, both adding just 5 to their overnight scores. Hamid out for 105 LBW to one that would probably have clattered into leg stump. He was falling across his sticks trying to work it to leg and was sent on his way by umpire Hartley, and then 1 brings 2, as they say, because then Joe Clark fell in Sam Cook's next over. Really good sharp slip catches. Farhan Ahmed now adds to his single with a push into the offside. Luke Benkenstein on his debut scampers after it, and there's 2 more to the 16-year-old brother of Leicestershire and England's Rian. 275 for 9. Paul Walter got a couple of wickets in the same over. Jack Haynes caught and bowled, and Lyndon James taken in the covers by Snater. That was another good catch, and then the second new ball knocked over 7, 8 and 9. Liam Patterson-White caught behind off Porter, and Simon Harmer dismissed Lord and Fletcher in the same over. This one's popped up in the air but falls short of Harmer at second slip, and that's the end of Sam Cook's over. He's got through 18 overs in this innings, 2 for 49. That's 275 for 9 there. In an impossible situation, they trail by 89. They've had 3 overs of the extra 8 that the umpires have allocated in this extended little period here. Kyle Verreynne is 35 not out, but up to this point, Dick, he's been offered singles at the start of overs by Essex, and he's been happy to take them, and I think that came back to sort of bite knots a little bit when he pushed a single against Simon Harmer in what would have been the final over before lunch, and then Harmer got rid of Lord and Fletcher.
Yes.
Straight afterwards.
But similarly, or on the other side, Farhan Ahmed took a single off the last ball of Harmer's preceding over to keep the bowling, and that's worked away down to Tom Wesley at long on rather, so they do take that single off the first ball of the over.
I don't quite get it. I really don't quite get it. I mean, as we've said, he's a wonderful player. He averages 50 in first-class cricket. He's faced Simon Harmer more than anybody else as South Africa's wicket-keeper when Harmer's been playing. So he knows how to play him, and he's taking a single first ball.
Yeah, Harmer, first delivery, or second delivery rather, is just stabbed back at him with a good defensive shot from Ahmed. Still a bright sunny day here at Chelmsford, and Harmer gives this one a little bit more air, and Ahmed treats that with every ounce of the respect that it deserves, and just lunges forward. Not a tall man, or lad, 16, good gracious. And that's just played off the back foot. Again, in a little ungainly manner, but effectively trickles out on the onside. Harmer. Son catching his blonde hair. And it's just played solidly. Keep using the same adverbs, but that's what comes to mind really. It does look quite solid at the moment, does young Master Ahmed. Harmer into him. Goes on the back foot. Ooh, and that was a play and a miss, and for all he knew he could have got an edge, or he could have been bowled, but neither happened, and so he survived. Well, I say survived, that's to undervalue it. Most of the over he played out very well, most of the 5 deliveries he faced. It's just the last one found him wanting a little. End of the over, and 276 is the Somerset score. Somerset, where did I get that from? Is the Nottinghamshire score.
Yes, Essex, if you've not been following this game, made 457 over the course of the first 2 days, under floodlights, under black skies, you can't even call them grey skies, filthy, filthy weather here in Chelmsford, but centuries from Westley and Pepper put a good score on the board, and then Notts yesterday morning were just skittled out. It was a paltry effort really yesterday morning. Having begun the day 37 for 1, they were bowled out for 93 and made to follow on, and that's where we are as Cook bowls to Verena, and again he's taken a single from the first ball of the over. I don't know if it's a case of Farhan Ahmed has said, don't you go turning anything down, because I want to have a piece of this action. I want to face as many balls as I can, but it does seem a little odd that as an experienced player who's out there, he's well set, he's been out there for over an hour and a half this morning. He's a very capable player, as I say, Kyle Verena. He's 37 not out now, but over the last few overs they've offered him a single first ball and he's been happy to take it. Notts trail by 87, so that's unrealistic to get anywhere close to making Essex bat again. The weather, as Dicky's just said, is absolutely glorious, so that's not going to come to their aid. So it's not going to be a time thing either. We've got the best part of 61 overs left in the day.
And Critchley now goes at, well, I would still call that silly mid-off. It means there's only 2 slips now.
Yeah, 5 close to the wicket catchers. As this is dug in short by Sam Cook, and Farhan Ahmed just ducked down, let it go over his left shoulder and through to Michael Pepper. 1 for the over, says umpire Hartley, as train goes past in the distance. Verena 37, leaning on his bat at the far end. This morning Asiba Mead out for 105, Joe Clark 67. Rob Lord made 21, that's his highest first class score, playing in only his second game, as is Farhan Ahmed, who has got his highest first class score at 3 not out as he pushes this out into the offside. Lyndon James a second ball duck today, and the same fate befell Luke Fletcher, who bagged a pair in the match. Just a slight hold up here whilst Harmer is moving from second. Well, he's going back again. There's 2 slips, Elgar and Harmer. They went very, very wide and have just narrowed the gap once again as another bouncer goes over the head of Farhan Ahmed. That's 2 for the over, signalled initially by Robbie White at point rather than at square leg. It's because Robin Dasser's in there under the helmet, so he can't see, so Rob White, the umpire, has gone over to point, and he signalled to Peter Hartley. That's 2 for the over. Just the one result in Division 1 so far, confirmed just before lunch. Durham defeated Lancashire by an innings and 63 runs. Lancashire say 9th in the table, Notts are 8th, whatever happens here, and Farhan Ahmed's going to get a couple of runs as Benkenstein loses his cap as he chases after it out towards the pavilion side of the ground, and I'm going to say, drags the ball back in from just inside the rope. I think the ball had actually come to a halt as Benkenstein got there. But 2 more, delaying the inevitable almost certainly, but Farhan Ahmed enjoying himself. He's on 5 now, and Notts a 2.79 for 9. Should have gone for lunch at past. They had their request to extend the session, ratified by the umpires. We've had 20 minutes of that half an hour as Farhan Ahmed now gets his 6th run in first-class cricket. And it's 2.80 for 9, and again he's taken a single from the final ball of the over, so Verena doesn't even have to play the game or play the one ball at the start of the over this time.
No.
2.80 for 9.
Yes, from the way that Farhan Ahmed has almost monopolised the bowling since he came to the wicket, you'd think it was the other way round as to who had vast experience and who was very, very much a novice in the game. But, it's all an experience for him, and the fact that he's willing to do it and got the confidence to do it is a very good sign for his future, and we certainly wish him well.
We haven't yet had an incident of Farhan Ahmed standing next to Paul Walter. We'd like to see the size difference.
As just pushed out and square, slightly backward of square on the offside.
We sort of compared it yesterday, didn't we, to that famous old photograph of Will Jefferson and James Taylor in their Leicestershire days having a bit of a chat. There is sort of the same disparity between the giant Paul Walter and the more diminutive Farhan Ahmed.
Yes, reminiscent of that famous I look down on him and he looks down on me, and was it Ronnie Barker and John Cleese and Ronnie Corbett, I suppose. This is given more air and just played out on the onside, and a very spectacular attempt by Benkenstein. You needn't have worried because Wesley was behind him at mid-on, and that's well fielded by Benkenstein at short mid-wicket, very short mid-wicket. It looked to have the better of him, but he thrust out something of an optimistic right hand along the floor and stopped it going through. Good fielder, Benkenstein, and good-looking young batsman is Farhan as well. Farhan Ahmed, sorry.
Yes, Benkenstein on his first-class debut. Missed out with the bat, only made 4, dismissed by Rob Lord, but he's been a willing enthusiast in the field. He's saved any number of runs, and in the first innings caught a Seba Mead.
Harm around the wicket now, but still met with that somewhat ungainly but very effective backward defensive shot. Trickles out, and it concludes the over with the visitors 280 for 9, still 84 behind.
I think the caterers are perhaps winning this pair on now, Verena and Ahmed. We're about 7 minutes to 1 o'clock.
Yes.
I think it's 8 overs all the half an hour, so I'm pretty sure we'll be comfortably over the 8 overs with Simon Harmer rattling through.
Yes, I often wonder under these circumstances, all right, saying, oh yes, we'll have an extra half hour, and the people in the kitchen say, no, you can't, it'll be ruined. If it's ruined, if it's burnt, don't come crying to me, it's your fault.
I don't think it's so much the in-ground caterers for the officials and for the teams and what have you. I think it's more the caterers on the ground. Just imagine if the final wicket goes now, the 1,000 or so people that are probably in here, most of them will just head straight off, but if they've got to sit around for 40 minutes, that's a lot of cups of teas and burgers that can be sold and ice creams and what have you. We've got a bowling change at the far end, and for the first time today Shane Snater is coming into the attack. He bowled 4 overs yesterday in this Nottinghamshire second innings, none for 16. Shock of dark hair, former Dutch international, comes in and bowls, and it's just clumped away in the offside by Verena, again with the field set deep, so he takes a single.
So it could be seen as a moral success, albeit maybe a small one, for the tail end pair, that particularly Ahmed, the fact that it's caused a change in bowling.
Well, I'm sure they're not seeing it like that at the moment, because if you get out to Shane Snater, then it's not exactly been any great triumph, has it? But I think if they could get to lunch, I mean, it is just, we know, just delaying the inevitable. But if they could get to lunch, they'd at least have a little bit of pride in their performance that perhaps has been a little lacking in the Nottinghamshire side in this innings. That's a good delivery. It's gone past him and has taken the edge, and Pepper takes the catch. So Shane Snater only needed one ball at Farhan Ahmed, who has been caught behind for 6, and that will be that. Essex have triumphed over Nottinghamshire by an innings and 83, I think it is. They've done the double over knots this season after winning the first round of matches comfortably at Trembridge as well. Nottinghamshire condemned to their 4th defeat of the season. They've lost 8 wickets this morning, beginning the day on 180 for 2, and they've been bowled out for 281, so they've obviously scored 101 this morning for those 8 wickets. So that in itself tells you it wasn't a much better morning for Notts than it was yesterday morning when they were bowled out for 93. But it's a comfortable victory in the end for Essex. The poor old caterers that we were just talking about are probably saying half price burgers to anybody that is heading out. I don't know, but congratulations to Essex. 2 rounds of matches to go. Essex head to Edgbaston next week to face Warwickshire. Notts will be going back to the East Midlands and then coming back in this general direction when they face Kent at Canterbury on Tuesday, a match between 8th and 10th. They're not completely clear of the drop zone, but they are 1 point further away from Lancashire than they were at the start of the game. They only take 2 points from this game. Good round of applause, healthy round of applause for the victors. Notts in their dark training gear, all to a man, and the coaching staff come out of the changing room area down there and shake the hands of the winning side. Carl Verena finished undefeated at the end of the match. He will be heading back to South Africa. We'll miss the Kent game and then we'll come back for the Bears game. Farhan Ahmed out for 6. So that's just about it, Dickie, unless you have any more thoughts to add or any more correspondence to give a mention. Essex have been the worthy winners over the course of the 4 days. The first 2 played in absolutely grotty conditions. The latter 2 we saw a little more sunshine, but thanks very much to you, Dickie, and to Paul Newton for your hospitality, and Essex County Cricket Club, and we wish you well for the rest of the season.
Yes, thanks Dave. Well, we wish you success anyway, and hope that the 2 sides will meet again next year. I mean, I think by more or less common belief, or not common belief, shared agreement, Notts is probably one of the very best grounds to visit, so and Notts over the years have been one of the very best and prestigious sides. So but as it is in this particular match, Essex were, well, I mean, the difference is obviously on the first innings. 457 played 93, and that was easily and very obviously the total difference between the 2 sides in the end. And so I'll do an update for the 1 o'clock news very shortly, but thank you very much for listening, for watching, for emailing. We appreciate all your support, and well, next week we go up to Edgbaston. I'm doing a day or 2 of that, but and then what was sort of, we vaguely hoped, or more than vaguely hoped, would be the crescendo of the season when Essex met Surrey in the final game. It seems unlikely that there'll be very much hanging on it, unless possibly second place, but whatever it is, I'm sure there'll be a good crowd here. Hopefully we've got good weather, and we know that there will be good support on the internet and on the web feed and live stream and everything, and it doesn't go unappreciated, believe me. So thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully talk to you next week from Edgbaston.